Today, we're going to give you the very best talents and pairings for Osman, who does some ridiculous skill damage. So if you're looking to slay your foes with this exceptional commander, you've come to the right place. Hello, my friends, and welcome back. I'm Chisgule Gaming, a sponsored content creator for Rise of Kingdoms, and today we're going to give you the very best talents for Osman, who is one of the highest skill damage epics in Rise of Kingdoms. If you like Rise of Kingdoms guides that help you get value and smash your enemies, then hey, consider smashing that subscribe button for daily Rise of Kingdoms videos. In this video, we're going to very briefly review his skills, just to talk about some of the things you need to know about talent choices we will make. The majority of this video will be about the talents, and you can use the timestamps in the description to jump to whichever portion of the video you are most interested in. At the very tail end, we'll make sure to give you some pairings that I think are really exceptional. Now, the reason that Osman is such a high skill damage commander in Rise of Kingdoms is that not only is his active skill, as an epic, focused 100% on skill damage, with the expertise, it's 1,100. But if we get a look at the third skill, every time you use an active skill with this commander, he is going to do 400 damage factor. Let me briefly explain how that works. When you have a commander pairing, they are going to use the active skill for the primary commander. There's going to be a second of downtime, and then they use the active skill of the secondary commander. That means that every skill cycle, this is going to fire off twice. That is another 800 damage factor every time the active skills of commanders are used. So what this means is that commander pairings that fire off their active skills more frequently are going to be better for Osman because he gets more value from this right over here. He wants to be paired with a commander that generates rage, and the builds you want to use on him should generate lots of rage as well. This is why we were reviewing the skills before we get into the talents. The fourth skill is going to increase your troop capacity, which, by the way, you bring more troops. That means your skills are going to do more damage. And the second skill is for hitting cities, and it's very weird. It makes it so that when you hit a city for more than 30 seconds, you start to get a boost. It's just, you're not going to use them for that, is what I want to say. So let's focus in on honing the damage and rage engine that you have on Osman and get a look at some of the talents that I can recommend. The very first build I want to show you is not something I would recommend in most cases. It's the pure glass cannon max damage that you could go for. We're going all in on skill damage boosts, additional skill damage boosts. We've gone all in on generating rage in the skill tree through feral nature. We also, by the way, tap into the fact that we have this rage engine by generating rage with rejuvenate every time we use an active skill, by generating rage from feral nature. We are going to use our active skills more frequently, so we went all the way up to strategic prowess. This is going to make it so that you are getting 20% defense every time an active skill is used. This also means, by the way, that when the active skill of the primary commander is used, for the next second, you're going to have strategic prowess buff. For the next second, you're still going to have strategic prowess buff, and the active skill of the second commander is going to be used, and then this is going to refresh for another 2 seconds, and I know that scientist title flying across the screen is blocking that, but strategic prowess actually gives you a cool 4 seconds in a row of getting that 20% extra defense. It's kind of a big deal. In addition, we're taking the extra troop capacity from fresh recruits, and you even get Hidden Wrath Rage. If you do get swarmed, then you're going to generate tons of rage. You generate 6 rage every time your commander is attacked. I think, however, that while I like this build for being all in on damage and only requiring one troop type, you don't have to have mixed troops, even though there are premium talents in the leadership tree for having mixed troops, I would recommend this build for field instead. And it's a little bit less glass cannon. Okay, we've shaved off these points. They're going to make it so you take more skill damage as well, because Osman does not do a good job of taking damage. We removed a little bit of the additional skill damage boosts over here, and we enhanced our survivability by going into the conquering tree for Buckler Shield. Buckler Shield is really very solid. 9% counterattack damage taken reduction is going to be a big deal when you are not being focused and you're able to work on whatever target that you're working on without getting, again, taking a ton of that primary damage. The next build I have for you is for rallying, and you'd only want to use this if you're in the very early game in Rise of Kingdoms. It actually is probably a whale who's going to be using this commander in this way, leading a rally on a city that might have gone all in on Osman as one of their sort of first epic commanders. This is a build that is oriented towards using mixed troops. You're going to want to have all 3 troop types represented. And, okay, you might have siege units, so you could have 3 of the 4 troop types represented, and you need that for armed to the teeth and also armored to the teeth. I also am assuming that you're going to get below 50% strength in this process, which is why I've recommended close formation. You could make an argument, however, that having more skill damage taken reduction could be really good. You could make an argument that strategic prowess is also really good. I generally don't think you want Osman to be the primary commander for rallying a city, but if you're in like the super early game, I suppose this is something that you could be considering. Now, when it comes to who you want to pair this commander with, I would strongly recommend you pair with someone who generates rage. To give a few really solid examples at the epic tier for that, one of the very best pairings would be Sun Tzu. He is tanky, he generates tons of rage, he does area of effect damage. If you're using this pairing in the open field, I think it will do incredibly well because of that rage generation. Similarly, if you were going to use an all archer pairing, Herman would be great. You might consider using the Herman primary to get the benefit of the archer tree and the skill tree. But his 4th skill is going to generate a small amount of rage. And with Osman, you want to generate as much rage as you possibly can. Looking to other commanders that will be really exceptional, Boudica is also going to generate a small amount of rage. She'll also do a little bit of healing, and honestly, Osman has no sustain whatsoever, so the healing is quite nice. However, a more tanky, well-rounded option is going to be Pelagius. You're going to go all in on cavalry if you use this pairing. It's got the healing, it's got some tankiness with the extra defense offered from the 2nd skill and the expertise. It's also got that rage gen I was talking about in the active skill, which is perfect for your rage engine. I actually really like Pelagius as one of my top tier epic picks. Second, probably only to the Sun Tzu. And I would use Pelagius primary, by the way, to get the benefit of that cavalry tree. Those are the epics I would most recommend pairing with Osman. They have the rage generation, they give you a little bit of sustain, but if we just get a look at some of the legendaries that you could pair with, I'll just call out a couple examples of some top tier pairings. And although I would not recommend most players use Khan Osman is a phenomenal combo. Khan has a lower rage requirement on his active skill. He also, by the way, is going to reduce the rage requirement by another 100. This is everything that Osman wanted. I actually really like this pairing. I think it's very solid. And if you were using Khan, even at a 5-5, 1-1, the Osman as a secondary in the early game could be a pretty solid choice. In addition, you could pair with someone that's just got the support tree, like Ethelfled or Saladin. They're going to be generating lots of rage, and that is coming from their talents, by the way. Rejuvenate gives 150 rage per skill used from the support tree. The support tree is also nice and tanky. So I like Ethelfled primary. I like Saladin primary as a really solid pairing for Osman. I think both of those will do very, very well for you. Of course, there is a commander like Isong. Isong will help you generate some rage and do some damage as well. You're still going to be quite the glass cannon pairing, but we're talking about early game pairings here. And the thing that I like about Isong is not only is he going to give you extra rage, he's going to give you 100% extra attack, but also he's going to boost all skill damage by 50%. This is a big deal. Now, I proved in a video, card up in the top, that although this is going to say it's a 50% boost, and it is going to technically boost your base skill damage by 50%, the number you probably care about way more is the big red number that you see. That is the total amount of damage that you deal. There are many things that will modify that amount of damage, and so this is going to say 50%, but by pairing Osman with Isong, you shouldn't expect the red number you've got to go up by 50%. It's going to go up by something less than that. But that's the topic of the video we've already done. You can check that out after you finish this video. And in fact, I think that covers the majority of what we wanted to hit on with using Osman in Rise of Kingdoms. He is an exceptional high skill damage commander. And while I do advocate that for early game, you can be extremely impactful in the battlefield using a commander like Joan of Arc and offering a ton of buffs, other players want to go with that raw damage, and Osman is most certainly a great pick if that's what you want to do. If you enjoyed this video, do me a huge favor, throw a like on here and consider subscribing for daily Rise of Kingdoms videos. If you're looking for other epic commander talents and guides, I'll have a card up in the top for my full playlist. And until next time, you have fun smashing the kingdom.